Scotland vs Ukraine live, latest World Cup playoff updates. Scotland and Ukraine finally meet on Wednesday night in a long-delayed Qatar 2022 World Cup playoff semi-final clash, with the winners set to progress to face Wales for the final UEFA's own spot in the finals. The two nations were due to originally play in late March, but the invasion of Ukraine by Russia led to a postponement, and now, as the war in that country approaches its 100th day, an emotional occasion is set to unfold. While Steve Clarke and his side have been entirely respectful of the situation in Ukraine, the Scotland boss knows his side have a job to do and wants the home crowd to help them achieve it. Meanwhile, legendary striker Andriy Shevchenko says the entire nation's morale will be the only push Ukraine's players need. The motivation is incredible. In my opinion, we need to put the result away and just focus on the game. We need to play for the fans, for the whole of Ukraine, for those at home, for those defending the country, and for those who left the country, he said. Follow all the action live below as Scotland face Ukraine in the World Cup playoff semi-final. Former Ukraine captain and manager Andriy Shevchenko insists the hope of the country rests on their World Cup playoff against Scotland on Wednesday night. The two national teams face off at Hampden Park for the right to meet Wales in Sunday's final, with the winner of that game progressing to the World Cup finals in Qatar later this year. Ukraine is currently at war with Russia following Vladimir Putin's invasion in February. The match against Scotland was originally due to take place in March but was moved due to the impact of the war. And Shevchenko, who is Ukraine's record scorer and also managed them from 2016 to 2021, believes the team have what it takes to qualify for a second World Cup since their independence in 1991. Ukraine face Scotland at Hampden Park in their World Cup playoff semi-final on Wednesday. The atmosphere is building nicely, and the players are ready for this long-awaited clash. Scotland are 2 matches away from reaching their first Men's World Cup in 24 years. Hampden Park will host a World Cup playoff semi-final between Scotland and Ukraine this evening in a game that will be watched around the world given the situation in Ukraine. It will be emotional, tense and enthralling. If it was any other country, I would probably want them to win, the Scotland captain Andy Robertson grinned ahead of tonight's World Cup semi-final playoff with Ukraine, but unfortunately they're playing against my country and we have to stand in their way. There will be a balancing of emotions at play at Hampden this evening, coming into a match that a few months ago already carried huge significance but has now developed into something far larger. As Robertson explained, while navigating the lines between both sides, Scotland will welcome Ukraine with open arms on what is set to be an emotional occasion as the country plays its first competitive fixture since it was invaded by Russia 3 months ago, but they will need to be ready for a contest as well. There is a place in Qatar on the line, after all, as Scotland sense their best opportunity in a generation to end their 24-year wait for an appearance at a Men's World Cup. The Tartan Army will be ready, not just in preparation for what is set to be an outpouring of support for Ukraine, but to roar their team into Sunday's playoff final against Wales. Perspective, however, is never far away. There will be an incredible atmosphere at Hampden, the Ukraine head coach Alexander Petrikov admitted in the build-up to his team's match, but after rockets and bombs, we are not afraid of anything. Read Jamie Braidwood's full match preview here, an emotional occasion as Ukraine return to action, but once the match gets underway there's no room to be sentimental.